It is a little over 3 weeks since Prince Philip apologised for his part in a car crash near to the Queen's Sandringham estate. Yesterday, we learned that he's decided to give up his driving licence.
Well, let's talk about how he came to that decision with the royal commentator Kate Wiliams, who's outside Buckingham Palace for us this morning. Morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us. And
Good morning.
what do you know about this process that he finally decided he's going to hand in his driving licence?
Well, we believe there have been a lot of discussions in Buckingham Palace in the aftermath of the accident on the 17th. This very serious, severe accident that was very distressing for all concerned, very distressing for the two ladies, one who is, still continuing to be in pain. And there was a lot of discussions about this accident. And I do believe that Prince Philip initially was hoping to keep his licence, but then really realised that this simply wasn't possible. It wasn't possible to keep it. The accident could have been so much worse. So he did make the decision to give up the licence. There would have been discussions with the Queen, with the courtiers, and very most likely with Princess Anne, who has a lot of influence over her father. But in the end, I think it was inevitable that really it had to be done. And I mean, we have to remember that with Prince Philip, unlike you and me, when you and me give up our licence, we won't be able to drive again. But he just can't drive on public roads. He can drive around the estates. He can trundle around all of Sandringham in the car. He simply can't go out on the public roads, and that's the difference.
Obviously, he's very fond of driving. So how do you think he's going to be able to cope without being allowed out on the public roads?
He loves driving. I mean, that was the whole thing. He loves driving. He loves driving without his security detail. He goes out, it's independence. He's always been an incredibly independent person. He was a keen driver right from the beginning, just like the Queen. It's something they really have in common. But essentially, it was just that the accident just showed him that it simply wasn't possible to be out there on the public roads anymore. And he had to revise that opinion. But he can drive independently around the estates. He simply can't go out. And I think it will be a blow to his independence. It is quite a moment for him to give up his driving licence. But it also has to be remembered that simply the file, Norfolk Police have investigated it. They've passed the file to the Crown Prosecution Service. And I'm not a lawyer, but I do understand from legal experts that it's very unlikely that they will prosecute the Duke of Edinburgh if he's given up his licence. So we don't know whether they prosecute him or not for careless driving. It's possible, but it's not probably going to be seen in the public interest to prosecute him if he has no longer got a driving licence and is no longer on the public roads.
And what do you think of the way that the palace handled the whole situation?
Well, I think it could have been handled better. Initially, there was a lack of information. We didn't realise there was a baby in the car for quite a while. We didn't realise that the injuries had been more severe for the two ladies initially. The ladies obviously did speak to the media, and they were very upset, and I think quite rightly so, that they hadn't received an apology, that no one had really spoken to them, and they did get a message from the Queen's Lady-in-Waiting. And when the letter came from the Duke of Edinburgh, really a very contrite letter saying what had happened, how sorry he was, well, that made a real difference. But that letter could have come a lot earlier, and I do think that people were really surprised that this is what happened, and the palace had really stayed very quiet about it, and the Duke too. So the handling could have been a bit better.
OK, Kate Wiliams, thank you very much indeed. I'll let you get in from what seems a pretty rainy day outside Buckingham Palace. Thank you.